There's all the names, a lot to choose from when you go to the polls. We almost didn't have that many candidates, though, until the courts got involved. The state Republican Party had been pushing all week to keep Danny Ford off the ballot, but a Richland County Circuit Court judge ruled he could stay on as a candidate this week. The party appealed to the state Supreme Court just yesterday, but the High Court said the same thing today. Ford stays. Our Kiana Jordan talked with a Republican strategist about what a ruling like this means coming from the High Court. Joins us live now in the studio. What do we find out here, Kiana?
Yeah, Brian, well, GOP strategist Dave Wilson says the court wasn't necessarily ruling against the state Republican Party, but instead are deciding to keep him on the ballot while they figure out the legalities of what happened. Now, initially, Danny Ford says he was told his voting record disqualified him from being certified, but his legal team argued in court on Monday that the GOP was inconsistently enforcing their guidelines because Senator Darlene Graham had the same voting record as Ford and she was certified. Ford's legal team also argued that political parties must meet constitutional standards when participating in the election process. Attorneys for the state GOP argued Ford has no constitutional right to be the Republican nominee and that the party can decide who represents it. The state Supreme Court weighing in, saying Ford stays on the ballot in the Republican special primary for the U.S. Senate while a legal challenge over his candidacy continues.
So the courts in South Carolina are saying he has met national qualifications for a person to be able to run for the U.S. Senate. But we don't have time to decide whether or not the party's rules can restrict that requirement as outlined by the Constitution.
Now, the SCGOP released a statement this morning saying in part, quote, "We remain confident in the party's authority to adopt and enforce its own rules and will continue to defend that authority." Early voting goes from 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. on today and Friday, and the special primary is set for Tuesday with a likely runoff set 2 weeks later on August 25th. In studio, I'm Kiana Jordan. Watch Fox News, Local First.